My name is Possible, and I'll be your tutor for today. In our previous lecture, we looked at economic theory, economic model, and then we ended with positive economics or positive statements, and then normative economics or normative statements. And then from there, we look at some of the examples of normative statements and positive statements. We said that positive statements are statements that could either be proved or disproved with reference to a fact. But normative statements, unlike the positive statements, can never be proved or disproved. And then when we were looking at examples, we said that most often the normative statement focuses on what ought to be or what should be, rather than what it is or what is it in the economy or on the market. And then we said that the positive statement focuses on what is actually going on rather than what should be. We also said that we shouldn't actually focus on the fact that the statement is either false or true, right? But rather we have to look at the statement and then ask ourselves a question whether that statement could be proved, could be approved or be disapproved. When we try to infer, when we try to verify from a certain source. I hope it makes sense. Now today is of no exception. We are going to know principles of economics. Basically, there are 10 principles that govern economics, and this must be known. I said they must be known so far as economics is concerned. 10 principles. Now, principle number 1 is people face trade-offs. People face trade-offs. I hope it makes sense. Now, when you say people face trade-off, the trade-off here means that before you get one thing, you have to sacrifice the other. I hope it makes sense. So in my next video, I will explain trade-off and then opportunity cost very well. I hope it makes sense. So make sure to set for the next video. Now, what we are trying to say is that no matter who you are, you have to face trade-off. So far as economics is concerned, there must be trade-off somewhere. For before we can produce one commodity, we have to sacrifice the production of the other commodity. I hope it makes sense. So no matter what it is, on the economy, there must be trade-off. So we are saying that to get one thing, we usually have to give up another thing or something else. So instead of sleeping, you can sacrifice the sleeping and then use that period to learn your books. I hope it makes sense. So we are saying that you are trading off your sleeping hours for your studies. I hope it makes sense. Let us use firms for instance. If a firm is producing commodity A and then at the same time producing commodity B, if the firm decides to produce A, it means that the firm is going to stop producing B until the firm finishes producing commodity A. And then when the firm also is producing the other, it will also stop producing the other. So we are saying that people face trade-offs. Not only the firm, people, even the individuals in the economy, they face trade-offs. Because the resources are scarce, please listen to all these facts. Because the resources are scarce, if they want to patronize one commodity, it means that automatically they will be compelled, they will be forced to stop patronizing the other commodity. I hope it makes sense. Hello, I hope you are getting it. Nice one. So the money in your pocket is either you spend it on your school fees or you spend it on something else. So no matter who you are, there's trade-off in the economy. And then right away from the trade-off, we are saying that the cost of something is what you give up to get. That is the point number 2. The cost of something is what you give up to get it. What we are saying is that opportunity cost always exists. Here talks about the trade-off. Here is talking about opportunity cost. It means that any course of action that you take, there is an iota of opportunity cost. I hope it makes sense. Nice one. Now, opportunity cost is talking about the value in the item that you have traded off. I will explain it very well in the next video. So get to the next video and then watch it. So what you are trying to say is that the cost of something. Now over here, supposing the firm is producing pen against pencil, pen against pencil, and then the firm decides to produce pen, it means that the firm is trading off what? Pencil. The firm is trading off pencil. And we are saying that point number 2 says that the cost of something is what you give up to get it. So the cost of pen is pencil, because you sacrifice pencil in order to produce pen. I hope it makes sense. So the cost of something, the cost of pen, is what you give up to get it. So you give up pencil to produce pen. I hope it makes sense. So you are saying that the cost of something is what you give up or to get it. Now, provided you are being faced with work and then also further studies. If you sacrifice your further studies and then you choose to work, it means that the cost of the work that you have gotten is your further studies. I hope it makes sense. So it costed you your further studies in order to get the work. I hope it makes sense. Nice one. Provided you choose to study rather than to sleep, it means that the cost of the studies is the sleeping hours that you have sacrificed. So the cost of something is what we give up to get it. I hope it makes sense. And then point number 3 says that rational people think at the margin. So the rational people think at the margin. You see, it is an undisputed fact that marginal changes are small. Yes, that one we all know. That marginal changes, when you talk about marginal changes, they are not all that big. Marginal changes are small. They are small incremental changes to an existing plan of action. So it means that if we are producing 10 and then we even increase it to 11, though the change is not all that big, but in economics we are saying that there has been a margin. A margin means a change. So last year, if you were 20 years and this year you were 21 years, it means the margin is 1. The margin is the change. The new one minus the old one will give us 1. So we are saying that yes, indeed, rational people think at the margin. Every rational consumer, the reason why we are using rational means that like they are sound to make decisions. I hope it makes sense. They have sound mind to make decisions. So we are saying that rational people, if you're rational people, it means that you are a person who has economic mind. And then if you're a person who has economic mind, it means that you definitely think at the margin. Everyone wants extra something. Everyone wants to get extra incentive. I hope it makes sense. So we are saying that people normally act when there is what? When there is an incentive or when there is an increment. I hope it makes sense. So if we are producing 10 bags of let me say 10 bags of chocolate, and then the price of chocolate all of a sudden, has increased. It means that the firm also has to increase production. I hope it makes sense. So we are saying that the firms or the individual people respond to margin. I hope it makes sense. Rational people also think at the margin. So if you're a consumer and then there has been a decrease in price, automatically you buy that particular commodity and then leave the commodity whose price still remains the same. I hope it makes sense. So you are saying that rational people, economic people, people with economic mind always think at the margin. And I've explained it to you that the margin is a small changes or a small increment to an existing plan. A small increment to an existing plan. And then here, before I move on, the rational people think at the margin. Before a rational person will make a decision, listen to this once and for all. Before a rational person will take a decision, the rational person will compare marginal cost, let me say marginal benefit, against marginal cost. And if the marginal benefit exceeds the marginal cost, if the marginal benefit exceeds the marginal cost, then the rational person will take decision in favor. Listen to me carefully. If the marginal benefit, the benefit in the thing exceeds the cost, then the rational person, the rational consumer will take decision in favor. And then if the marginal cost is greater than the marginal benefit, it means that what the person is giving up is more valuable than what the person is taking. If I'm sacrificing pen, but the value in pen, the marginal benefit in pen, what pen could do for me doesn't worth as much of pencil, then it means that I'm not making good decision. It means that my opportunity cost is high. I hope it makes sense. So we are saying that rational people think at the margin. That means they compare the marginal benefit against the marginal cost and make decisions whereby the marginal benefit outweighs or is greater than the marginal cost. I hope it makes sense. And then let us look at the next one. You say that people respond to incentives. People respond to incentives. Now, when you talk of incentive is something that causes a person to act. Incentives is something that causes a person to act. You see, because people use cost and benefit analysis, they always respond to incentives. Because here we have said that the marginal benefits and the marginal cost we compare and make decisions in favor when marginal benefit exceeds marginal cost. It means that people respond to incentives. Why? Because here the marginal benefit, it means that the margin, it means that the additional change is something that will benefit the people or the consumers. So if it will benefit the consumers, it means that they will definitely make decisions in favor. I hope you are getting it. So we are saying that people respond to incentive. When there is an incentive, you see people acting or people moving or shifting their attention or their patronizing power to that place. I hope it makes sense. So that one too, that is how it is. And then we are saying that higher taxes on cigarettes to prevent smoking. So when you see higher taxes on cigarettes, it means that they are trying to hinder people or prevent people from consuming cigarettes. I hope it makes sense. That's how it is. And then when you look at point 5, there's a trade can make everyone better off. Trade can make everyone better off. Trade allows countries to specialize according to their comparative advantages and then also their absolute advantages so that they can enjoy greater variety of goods and services. So what we are trying to say is that because trade is there, if a particular country is good at producing alcohol, let us allow that country to produce it at a lower price so that the prices of alcoholic beverages can go down. I hope it makes sense. If a particular country is good at producing leather, the one that we use for belt and we use for shoes. If a particular if a particular country is good at producing such items, let us allow them for them to produce. So we are saying that trade make everyone better off. So if those countries produces the leather and then they bring them, we buy them at a lower price. And then if Ghana, we are good at producing cocoa, let us focus on the cocoa, produce the cocoa so that we can export it. So we shouldn't always be thinking of we doing what the white people are doing. No. What the white people are good at, let us allow them and let them do. What we are good at, then we need to focus on that. I hope it makes sense. So we are saying that at the end of the day, they will trade, they will bring their own here, and then we will send our own there, and then they will buy it at a lower price, and then we buy their own at a lower price because we are focusing on our own. Recently, there has been a change in the structure of trade in Ghana with the international bodies. That is, in Ghana here as it stands now, the petrol, let me say the crude oil that we have been buying on the international market, we are using gold in exchange for that. At normal circumstance, one could say that it's a barter trade. Yes, indeed, it is a barter trade though. But the idea is that we are trying to look at what we are able to produce more, what we have more, and then we trade with what we don't have. I hope it makes sense. And at the end of the day, it will make everyone better off. And then point number 6 says that markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. This one was being propounded by Adam Smith. When you look at Adam Smith made the observation that when households and firms interact in markets guided by the invisible hand. When you talk about the invisible hand, we are talking about the demand, the forces of demand and the forces of supply. So he's saying that when individual firms and then household interact in the market, and then they are being guided by the invisible hand, they will produce the most surpluses for the economy. I hope it makes sense. So they are saying that we have to allow the forces of demand and the forces of supply to interact to bring its own prices on the market. If that one happens, it means that the economy will be better off. What is the explanation behind that? It means that when you go to market to buy something, you must be allowed to bargain for your own price. There must not be compulsion, there must not be coercion, there must not be any force on you. There must not be any duress. You must bargain for your own price, and then if you can buy it, you buy. If you cannot buy it, then you just leave and then you go your way. So he's saying that markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity, because it is on the market that selling and buying takes place, nowhere else. The black market, we don't take them into consideration so far as economics is concerned. Now, point number 7 talks about government can sometimes improve economic outcomes. I think this one also comes from the Keynesians. The Adam Smith is saying that the economy, we should allow the market, the invisible hand of the market to work. That is what Adam Smith is saying. But the Keynesians, this Keynesian school of thought, here the classical school of thought, but the Keynesian school of thought, being led by John Maynard Keynes, he's saying that sometimes the government can also improve the outcome of the market. I hope it makes sense. So it means that sometimes the government has to come in the market and then make sure that the prices on the market are being regulated. Sometimes there are some commodities that are autonomous. If you leave them, they can charge any price that they so wish to charge. But John Maynard Keynes, Keynesian school of thought, says that the government has to come in and put price legislation on it. I hope it makes sense. In Ghana here, Gasem was enjoying monopoly for so many years, and then they were charging any price as they could. I hope it makes sense. So we are saying that sometimes the government has to come in. So government can sometimes improve economic outcomes. Market failures occur when the market fails to allocate resources efficiently. So government can step in and intervene in order to promote efficiency and then equity. Efficiency and then equity. Now, point number 6 says that the standard of living depends on a country's production. The standard of living depends on a country's production. What we are trying to put across is that if a country produces much, the standard of living of its people or of its citizens also increases. I hope it makes sense. The more goods and services produced in a country, the higher the standard of living. The more goods and services that a country produces, the higher the standard of living. This is because as people consume a larger quantity of goods and services, their standard of living will increase. I hope it makes sense. Nice one. Now, point number 9 says that prices rise when the government prints too much money. Prices rise when the government prints too much money. When too much money is floating in the economy, there will be a higher demand for goods and services. This will cause firms to increase their price in the long run, which will eventually lead to what is called inflation. What we are trying to say is that if government prints too much money in the economy, it means that the money at hand will be too much. People will have access to a lot of money in the economy. And because they will have access to a lot of money in the economy, yes, if we have too much money, it means that we can buy too much of commodity. We can buy a lot of commodity. And then if we are buying a lot of commodity because we have too much money, the law of demand, if all of us are chasing the commodity, automatically the prices of the commodity will go up because there will be shortage in the commodity. The commodity will fall short. When it falls short, it means that demand will be greater than supply. And when demand is greater than supply, the prices of the commodity will go up because there's shortage in the economy. I hope it makes sense. So that is how it is. And then the last one is society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment. Society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and then unemployment. So it means that in the short run, when prices increase, suppliers will want to increase their production of goods and services. Yes, indeed. From here we are saying that when the government prints too much money, automatically the people will chase more, or because they will have more money at hand, they will chase more commodities. And if they are chasing more commodities, the firms also will be compelled to also produce more commodities to meet this demand of the consumers. And then if they are increasing their production of goods and services, it means that automatically they are going to employ more people. It takes more labor to increase production. So if the entity or the company or the firm is employing more people, it means that unemployment will be reduced. Unemployment rate will be reduced. Meanwhile, there will be an inflation because the government has printed too much money. I hope it makes sense. So we are saying that when the government prints too much money, more money comes into the system. And when more money comes into the system, the consumers will chase more commodity. And then when they are chasing more commodities, the firms also has to increase their production. And if the firm is increasing its production, it means that it has to increase its labor. And if the firm increases labor, unemployment is going down. And then because more money has come into the system, of which it is allowing people to pursue more goods, it means that inflation also it will increase in the economy. So it means that society faces short-run trade-offs between inflation and unemployment. So sometimes when there's an inflation, yes, inflation is not all that good, but that inflation also creates a positive consequence, which is what? Reduction in unemployment. I hope it makes sense. So we are saying that society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and then unemployment. So all these are the 10 principles of economics. You have to get them at hand so that you can learn them and then be familiar with them. Once again, my name is Possible. Make sure to click on the subscribe button. Leave your message also at the comment section. Ask your question also at the comment section. Like the video and then also share with others. I hope it makes sense. The contact to reach us with some of your questions on WhatsApp is 0548 53 7258. 0548 53 7258. Until we meet again for another lecture, I will say bye bye for now. Bye.